Hello, we are Alchemy Theatre.
And we are putting on Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew this July at Château Bosgouet and in Paris.
Where? Alright, Charlotte, give us a summary of The Taming of the Shrew in a couple of sentences.
Give it a go. Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew is technically a comedy, but we are playing it as a tragedy. It has two corresponding love stories, one that goes quite well and one that doesn't go as well. And it's funny, and it's dramatic, and it's sad, and it's scary, and there's dancing. So what's the story we're trying to tell?
This play was written just over 400 years ago, and I think it is still incredibly relevant. There are massive themes of domestic abuse, coercive control, violence against women, and maltreatment of women. And we wanted to put this story on and
Shine a light
on it, interrogate it, because I think there's some incredibly relevant content that needs to be seen and talked about.
But I think it's nice to think that we, in our own small way, in our own small corner of the world, are going to contribute something.
So this play is titled The Taming of the Shrew, a play in two halves. What does that mean?
The bottom line of it, at the half time, the audience get to decide the trajectory of the play.
It's a twist ending.
It's a bit of a sliding doors moment.
It's a twist ending.
Where you can choose that path or that path.
It's a twist ending.
Within minutes every night, you're just gonna find out which show you're performing.
It's a twist ending.
So why are there these two potential paths?
Every time I've watched The Taming of the Shrew, I've always felt incredibly uncomfortable. I think some of the content that's managed in it is meant to be a comedy, but it's just not funny. And I often feel that the ending can be read in two different ways. And I want us to explore that, and I want the audience to be complicit in that and responsible for what we see.
So why did we decide to perform The Taming of the Shrew?
It is a hard play. It's often kind of touted or sold as a comedy. It ends with a marriage, and it is very funny, but it's not funny. And I think anyone who knows the play or anyone who's in the company initially was a bit like, God, why are you doing this?
What drew me to this production was knowing that this was Taming of the Shrew by two female directors.
We really want to dig in deep to what is shown on stage and look at these themes, because it was written 400 years ago, and at the time, sure, maybe it was meant to be a joke, maybe it was meant to be funny, but these things still happen, and it's still incredibly prevalent in society.
A feminist production of maybe one of Shakespeare's most sexist plays.
And I think sometimes by watching something which was written many years ago, or something which you can laugh at, allows you to analyse and connect with your own experience of the world around you.
It's not enough for everybody to go to the theatre and just see nice stories of nice things happening to nice people, and and then that's the end of it. We actually do need to be telling stories that matter even today.
So Anthea, can you talk about some of the casting choices that we made for this show?
Yes. We have cast several of the male characters as women. So Baptista is the father, is being played by Mia, who will be Mother Baptista Minola.
A mother, which makes the relationship very, very interesting. Super interesting with Katharina and Bianca.
Then there's Tranio and Lucentio, the two gentleman and his servant who come from out of town. We are playing them as women, Trania and Lucentia. Because the play is set in Misc 1500s Italy, they are dressed up as men so that they can explore, study, kind of experience the same things that men do in this world.
Definitely.
And then we also have Clara playing Grumio.
So it's like something very exciting for me, like personally, because it's something really different. In acting classes, I was like the girls,
Yeah.
and now it's a lackey, and it's the little man who's trying to, who's in a very difficult position.
And I think having this, that we're really trying to work with feminine energy, not just kind of doing it as a rollicking comedy, but seeing what does it look like when these lines are said as women, or said as women being men, or how would that woman interpret that moment. I mean, it changes a lot. The Taming of the Shrew is actually, weirdly, a play within a play. What did we do about that, Charlotte?
So a classic thing that's done with the Taming of the Shrew is that the prologue that was written by Shakespeare is cut. Because it kind of doesn't make sense, because there's actually not an epilogue. There's not a kind of rounding out of that prologue. And so we have also cut the original prologue, but what we're deciding to do is still keep that idea of a play within a play and have our actors put together and devise a prologue, and then we will also have a sort of epilogue at the end that we as a company will put together. So it will really feel like, as it was in Shakespeare's day, a troupe of actors is coming to the gentry's home in the countryside to perform their Shakespeare.
So ready for that. What does performing at Château Bosgouet add to the production?
What does it not add? No. But in all seriousness, it adds a whole layer of immersiveness to the production, which adds to that thing that we were just talking about of the audience feeling complicit in the show, feeling a part of the show, feeling like they are also making choices alongside the characters in this production, feel responsible for whatever ending we come to. And as well, you get to sit on the lawn, you get to have a picnic, you
get to have your Bosgouet basket.
Champagne.
So talk about what it's like working with Shakespeare's text, because I know you love that.
I do. The thing that I've always loved about performing Shakespeare, producing Shakespeare, directing Shakespeare, is the added challenge that you have to doing these plays. As an actor, as a director, as anything to do with the theatre form, you are analysing your character, you're analysing the play, you're doing all that work, but with Shakespeare you have this whole additional layer of the poetry that you get to unpack.
At the time, they didn't have much visuals, so people used to go to hear a play. They didn't say, oh, we're going to see a play, they're going to hear a play. And so we're sort of spoiled with all the visuals, with film and telly and everything. And so the voice was super important, so the words were super important.
And so for me, that's what's the amazing part, is that you think you know a scene, and then it's like, oh, hang on a second, have we considered this word? Or have we considered the way that the verse plays itself out? Or have we considered the key words here and here and here? Or why does this character change from using verse into prose here? Like, what's happening there? There's so much to unpack, which is really amazing. It's a feast for an actor, for a director, for a producer, for a set creator, for a costume designer. It's always a feast.
And I must say that working with you and your passion of the text is definitely one of my greatest pleasures, because I also love working with Shakespeare's text for all of those reasons.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, our actors are serving that, and we are uncovering those gems in the work, and I think it's great.
Thanks for tuning in to Shakespeare at the Chateau, the World of the Shrew.
If you're interested in following us, subscribing, you can find all the links to find us in the description below. And we will be back next week with
another video. Bye!